I was this close to never telling that story. You know, the one, the why I do what I do story, the one that feels way too personal, too raw, too who's going to care? Yeah, that one. I remember the moment that I first shared it from stage. Not a keynote, not a high stakes pitch, just a short 12-minute talk in the front of a local entrepreneurs networking group. I told the truth. The moment that I realized I wasn't just in this game to teach people how to speak better, I was in it because I know what it's like to feel unheard, to speak and feel invisible, to doubt your own voice, even when you know you've got something worth saying. And I'll never forget what happened next. The woman in the second row, she stood up mid-talk and she says, "That's it. That's what I've been feeling. You just put words to it." She didn't even wait for the end. She didn't care about my framework, my tools, or my credentials. She cared because I shared my why. And in that moment, it became our why. Here's what matters most in this episode. I've bombed. I've doubted. I've edited out my story more times than I can count, thinking that nobody would care. And I was dead wrong. Because when I finally started sharing my passion story, the one that answers, why do I care about this? That's when people started caring about me. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. How to craft your passion story, the one that inspires belief, attracts aligned clients, and converts curiosity into connection. Not a bio, not your origin saga, not your personal TED Talk. Just one real human story that gets your audience to say, I believe in this person. Let's go. In today's episode, we will cover what makes a passion story so powerful and why most people leave it out. We'll talk about the surprising shift that makes your why resonate more than your what. And we'll cover how to find the moment that lit your fire, even if you think it's not that impressive. And we'll cover how to tell your passion story without sounding preachy or salesy or like you're oversharing your diary. And by the end of this episode, you will walk away knowing exactly what story to tell, how to shape it, and how to use it to make people believe in you, not just your content. And if you want to go even deeper, I built a mini course to help you do exactly that. It's called The Next Stage Passion Story. Craft your one story that inspires, attracts, and converts. But more on that later. Let's talk about what a passion story actually is and why the story that inspires belief doesn't have to be big. It just has to be true. Let me ask you something. Have you ever sat through a talk where the speaker had all the right credentials, had all the right language, and maybe even had a slick delivery, but something just didn't click? You respected them, you appreciated the information, but you didn't really feel anything. You didn't lean in, and you didn't remember it 2 hours after. That's what happens when a message lacks passion. Now, let me be clear. Passion is not about volume or drama or charisma. It's about meaning, and meaning comes from your why. It's the heartbeat behind your message. Now, most speakers assume that their why is self-evident. They figure, I'm here, I'm speaking, I must care. I mean, obviously. But audiences don't know what you know. They don't feel what you feel, not until you let them in. And when you don't, well, they tune out. They hesitate. They withhold belief because there's nothing anchoring the message to you. And that's where your passion story comes in. Your passion story opens the door. It says, here's not just what I do, but why it matters to me. It makes you human, not just helpful. It makes you relatable, not just reliable. It makes people think, if they care that much, maybe I should listen closer. So let's break it down. People don't change their behavior based on data. They change based on emotional trust, on personal alignment, and belief in your belief. And that last one's important. If you believe so deeply in what you're doing that you're willing to share the moment that it became personal, well, that's contagious. Your passion story doesn't sell your product. It sells your conviction. And conviction is what earns action. So let's get this clear so we don't veer off course. Your passion story is not a 20-minute origin tale. It's not your rags to riches biography. It's not a rehearsed motivational speech or a brag reel or a tearjerker. And it's definitely not your elevator pitch dressed up in story clothes. It's a moment. It's one moment that changed the way that you saw your work, your mission, your role, and something clicked. You felt it. You knew this matters. And that's what you're sharing. So here's a quick example of what passion stories can look like. A life coach who was laid off and found her calling in helping others navigate change. A business consultant who watched their father's business crumble due to poor systems and vowed to help others avoid that fate. A wellness speaker who realized after a health scare that she'd been helping everyone but herself and decided to lead from overflow, not depletion. Now, none of these stories are flashy, but they're felt, and that's what makes them powerful. Now, you probably are thinking, okay, but I don't have a story like that. Spoiler alert, yes, you do. It might not feel big to you because, well, you've lived it. But there's a moment in your life, there's a conversation, maybe a failure, a quiet realization that started a fire. It shifted your lens. It gave your work meaning. And once you identify it, you'll never open a talk, a pitch, or a video the same way again because you will lead with belief. You will lead with why. And that's what draws the right people in. We're going to walk through exactly how to find that moment, how to shape it into a magnetic story and start using it to inspire belief without ever feeling salesy or self-important. Your passion story is really closer than you think. Let's find it. Now that you understand why your passion story matters and what it really looks like in practice, let's shift gears and talk about how to shape it into something that you can actually use. Because listen, the goal here isn't to write a memoir. It's to build a message-ready story that hits hard, that feels human and fits cleanly into any talk, any podcast, any pitch, or really any platform that you show up on. And that's why I recommend crafting your passion story as what I call a self-contained chunk, a story segment that you can drop in anywhere. And for it to work, that chunk needs to land in the 5 to 9 minute range. And sweet spot, right there at 7 minutes. That's where the magic happens. It's long enough to take your audience on an emotional journey, but it's short enough to hold attention in today's distracted world. And it's tight enough to keep you from over-explaining or maybe wandering off message. One story, one shift, one takeaway, 7 minutes. That's what we're aiming for. Now, here's the same structure that I use inside the signature chunk session. And it's what I teach in the mini course too. Number one, the spark. That is your opening moment. It answers what lit the fire. Start with a moment of truth, something real, human, and emotionally honest. Was it a frustration, maybe a conversation, or a realization that flipped your perspective? As an example, I was delivering yet another client presentation, and halfway through I thought, I don't really believe what I'm saying anymore. And that moment shook me. This sets the emotional tone. It keeps it tight. You got 60 to 90 seconds to draw them in. Next, number 2, the shift. Here's where you walk us through the transformation. Something changed. A perspective broke open. A new truth took root. What did you learn? What snapped right into focus? What belief did you trade in for something better? This is where your audience starts thinking, wow, I've felt that. Aim for 2 to 3 minutes of clarity and emotional resonance here. Don't teach. Don't list bullet points. Just walk us through the change. Number 3, the stand. This is where you land it. What do you believe now? What's your non-negotiable? What can your audience trust you to stand for? This is your insight. It's your declaration, the one sentence belief that you would plant a flag on. As an example, that's why I do what I do, because I know what it feels like to be disconnected from your own voice and believe no one should ever have to doubt that they matter. Bam. 30, 60 seconds, done. Now, put it all together. That flow right there, that's your 7-minute passion story. 90 seconds of spark, 3 to 4 minutes of shift, 60 seconds to stand, with a little breathing room for a delivery pace. It's clear, it's compelling, and it can travel with you across platforms, across presentations and conversations. There's no fluff. There's no overthinking, no monologue, just one real story that inspires belief and makes people want to lean in and say, I believe this person. I trust this message. Let's go. Now, the goal is not drama. It's clarity. This isn't about crafting a performance piece. You're not here to win an Oscar. You're here to show people the moment that you stopped just doing the work and you started owning the mission. That's what the passion story delivers. And once you've got it shaped into a 7-minute chunk, you'll never wonder again what to say when someone asks, oh, why do you do what you do? Because you'll have the answer. Story shaped, heart centered, and ready to work for you. So let's pull all this together. Your passion story isn't something you tell for you. It's something that you share for your audience, for them. It's not about proving how committed you are. It's about showing your audience why this work matters and why they should care too. Because people don't want perfect. They want real. They want to feel something before they decide to follow, to buy, or even believe. And here's the kicker. You can have the best framework in your industry. You can have the best slides, the tightest delivery. But if your audience doesn't believe that this work matters to you, they'll never believe that it should matter to them. That's what the passion story solves. It's the bridge between content and conviction. It's the fire starter that takes you from teacher to trusted guide. It's the story that tells your audience, without ever saying the words, you can trust me. I'm in this for a reason that's bigger than money or clicks. Now, you don't need a movie script to tell this story. You don't need a dramatic fall from grace. You don't need to have overcome death or divorce and bankruptcy to share a story that moves people. What you do need is a moment where it all clicked, where you saw something that couldn't be unseen, where your work turned into a mission, where your, I guess I'll try this, turned into, I've got to do this. That's the spark. And when you shape that spark into a 7-minute story chunk, it becomes your most powerful on-stage asset. You'll find that you'll use it everywhere. You'll use it at the beginning of a keynote. You'll use it as your brand intro to a promotional video, on a sales call when someone asks, why you? In a podcast interview when you need to make them feel something fast. Even in your website copy, your welcome sequence, or even your LinkedIn About You section. And here's the truth I've been after working with thousands of speakers. Most people want to share their story, but they get stuck in one of two traps. Number one, they don't know what to say, or they say way too much and lose the point. That's exactly why I created a mini course that removes the guesswork. It's called The Next Stage Passion Story. Craft your one story that inspires, attracts, and converts. Inside, you will learn how to uncover the moment that lit your fire. You'll learn how to shape it using the Ignite framework that's built for those 7-minute chunks. You'll learn how to deliver it with clarity, with conviction, and emotional pull. You'll learn how to use it across your brand, your business, your speaking, everywhere. You'll also get real-world story examples. You'll get smart AI prompts to shape and rehearse, and plug-and-play templates that make this easy, even if you are not a good storyteller. And it's just $37. Less than a dinner out. But this story, you will use it everywhere. So grab it at the link in the show notes. Just check the show notes. The link is there. Grab it. $37. You can have it in just moments. Now, look, if this episode gave you that little spark, that moment of, damn, that's what I've been missing, don't just think about it. Build it. This is the story that sets the tone for everything else. It's the story that tells your audience, I get it. I've been there, and I'm doing this for a reason. That's what gets remembered. That's what creates connection. And that's what makes people believe in you. So don't sit on it. Grab the mini course, shape your story, and take your message to the next stage. You'll be glad you did. And your audience, they'll feel the difference from the first word. Remember, your voice matters, your story matters, and I can't wait to see you on the next stage.